Find the x and y intercepts of each function. And we know that to find x-intercept, we plug in y equals 0 and solve for x. On the other hand, when we find y-intercept, we set x 0 and solve for y. Okay, so in part A, let's find y-intercept. We plug in x 0. So y equals, this is 6 times 0 plus 2, 0 over 0 plus 2 is 2 over 0 square, which is 0, so undefined, because when we plug in x 0, that's 0 on the bottom. Okay, here is 0, so something divided by 0 is undefined. That means there are no y-intercepts, so we can answer in this way. So y-intercept, none. Okay, so let's find x-intercept. So x-intercept, we set y 0, here is y, so 0 equals 6x plus 2 over x square. Now we solve this equation for x. Okay, we can always think 0 is 0 over 1, so we got one fraction, another fraction, let's cross multiply. So let's start this, because x square times 0 is 0, so this implies 6x plus 2 times 1, 6x plus 2 equals 0. Now let's isolate x, subtract 2 from both sides and divide by 6. Subtract 2 and divide by 6, so 2 sixths, which is same as 2 goes 1s, third, negative 1/3. So x equals negative 1/3 is the x-intercept. Okay, let's go for part B. So let's find y-intercept. So y equals, we set x 0, so 3 minus 0, 3 on the top, 0 square plus 1, 0 plus 1, which is just 1, 3 over 1 is 3. So the y-intercept is just 3. Okay, let's find x-intercept. We set y 0, that's the 0 equals 3 minus x over x squared plus 1. Now we need to solve this equation. So we got a fraction on the right hand side. Let's make 0 as 0 over 1 and cross multiply like in the previous question. So 1 times 3 minus x is just 3 minus x equals 0 times, this is just 0. Now we need to isolate x. For it's a negative x, right? So let's add x to the both sides. That means 3 equals x, or x equals 3. So x equals 3 is the x-intercept, just 1. Now here in part C, let's find y-intercept. We know that this function is same as y. So to find y-intercept, we plug in the x 0. So y equals, so y equals 3 plus 0 minus 2, negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is just 2, so 5. So y-intercept is just 5. So if the question asks you to write in coordinate form, that would be 0, 5. Because x 0, y is just found to be 5. Now let's find x-intercept. For we set y 0, that's the left hand side 0, equals 3 plus x minus 2. Okay, so this is the absolute value, so let's move 3 over. That means subtract 3 from both sides. So negative 3, when we subtract 3 from both sides, we get negative 3 equals absolute x minus 2. Now notice the right hand side is absolute value of something. As we know, absolute value of any number is always positive number. Okay, absolute value of negative number is positive, absolute value of positive number is positive. But we are trying to solve, we are trying to get absolute value of something equals negative number, which never happens. So in this case, x-intercept, no x value. So no x value here, no value. Okay, so x-intercept, answer is none, because there is no number whose absolute value is -3. Let's go part B. So here let's find y-intercept. As in part C, this is just y. So y equals, we set x0, so 5 minus absolute value of this is 0, 3 times 0, 0 plus 2, 2. 2, okay, absolute 2 is just 2. 5 minus 2, 3. So y-intercept is just 3. In coordinates form, that's 0, 3. Now let's find x-intercept. We set y 0, so 0 equals 5 minus absolute 3x plus 2. Okay, here now we need to isolate x, so 5, let's move 5 to the left side. That means subtract 5 from both sides. So -5 equals -3x plus 2. The whole thing negative. We can multiply both sides by -1 and becomes positive. Or we can divide by -1. In either case, negative is gone. Or we could have moved this absolute value term to the left side, then negative is gone. Anyways, this is, in fact, let me write here, this in the left hand side, absolute 3x plus 2 equals 5. Okay, now we need to get rid of this absolute value, and when we do this, then we need to put plus minus. Okay, this implies either 3x plus 2 is plus 5 or 3x plus 2 equals -5, because absolute value of 5 is 5, absolute value of -5 is also 5. So we have two options. This implies, so subtract 2 from both sides and divide by 3. So x equals, subtract 2, 5 minus 2, 3, divide by 3, so 1, or subtract 2 from both sides, -5 minus 2, -7, divide by 3, so -7/3. So we got two x-intercepts, 1 and -7/3. Okay, in coordinates form, that's 1, 0 and -7/3, 0. Final.